Excellency Caroline, thank you so much for being here with us tonight.
Thank you very much for inviting me.
Now, Caroline, with 60 years of bilateral relations between Australia and Switzerland, how have these ties strengthened and what are some of the profound similarities?
Oh, well, Switzerland and Australia are two democracies with very similar goals and values. For us, both the rule of law, a strong multilateral orders are extremely important. And I would say that we are very, very like-minded in a great number of fields. And over the past 6 decades, we have collaborated in a very large number of fields, be it research, education, trade, investment, health issues as well during the pandemic crisis, migration, etc. And it increased especially in the past years. And it's going to increase even more in the short future. First of all, on a government-to-government level, because as you know, Australia recently decided to reopen its embassy in Bern, which is great news. We're very much looking forward to that. And also on a people-to-people basis. Last January, the Swiss young people joined the work and holiday program. They can now come easily to join this program in Australia. And Australian people traveling to Switzerland do not need a visa even for long-term stay anymore. So these are great news.
That is such lovely news. Now tell us, what further opportunities are there within innovation, trade and cultural exchange?
Well, from an innovation point of view, you may know that Switzerland last year again did top the global innovation index, which is quite an achievement for a small country. Switzerland is 60% of the size of Tasmania, 1/3 of Australian population. So this is quite an achievement. And this transfer of knowledge from the lab to the market, I think, is one of our key strengths. And also a strong basis for collaboration with Australia and its world-class research and education system. This is a part of what innovation is. Regarding trade, you mentioned trade as well.
Yes.
Well, trade in the past 5 years increased, trading goods and services increased by 26%, which is huge,
That is huge.
especially with the pandemic, And I think that this trend will continue in the future. And from a cultural point of view, well, I would say that there is a growing awareness and interest in Switzerland for Australian indigenous art. Actually, just before I left Switzerland, end of last year, I visited a place in the Swiss Alps, which is called Fondation Opal, which portrays, I think, one of the largest collection of indigenous Australian art outside of Australia.
Why is that?
It's a place called Grand Montana, and it's absolutely beautiful. And it's also a platform, for exchange, for dialogue through the art between our two countries.
Beautiful. Now tell us then, how does Switzerland contribute to Australian productive capacity?
Well, when a Swiss company arrives in Australia, it doesn't only bring investment and technology, but also part of its culture, of its traditions. And people development is part of that. If you invest on people, you create a virtuous circle somehow that has a positive spillover effect on the general socio-economic environment. And maybe I should mention the fact that some Swiss companies are the invisible backbone of some of Australia's success.
For sure.
Did you know, for instance, that the Royal Flying Doctors rely mainly on Swiss aircraft, the Pilatus?
No.
Which, by the way, are also used by the Royal Air Forces to train their pilots. So these are
with
my
that
stories.
being said, then, are we doing enough to actually promote the Swiss brand within Australia, would you say?
Well, we have a trade point which is located within the General Consulate here in Sydney. Which job is to support trade and knowledge and branding of Swiss companies in Australia, and it definitely brings a strong support to this success of our country and also to Australia. It's a mutual success story.
For sure. Well, so lovely to meet you in person, and thank you so much for explaining all of that to us here tonight.
Very nice meeting you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Have a nice evening.
You too.
Thank you.